Hi, everyone. So, hoping that all of you are well and safe in your own homes. So, with this new normal that we are facing, some of the decisions that we need to make as parents really are for the education of our children. So, most of us have heard of the term homeschooling, but we don't know the details on what it is exactly. So, for today's video, I'll have this casual conversation, super casual chat lang, no, with my friend, Dr. Donna Pangilinan Simpao. So, hi Donna, how are you?
Hi! O chat lang, may kape pa
Oo
ako. Hello,
chat lang.
Hello. Thank you for doing this.
Yeah, kasi kanina nga kami ni Donna, we were, before this recording, no, we were talking about like there are a lot of information out there about homeschooling. So, of course, no, we want to share the right information as well so that hindi naman malito yung mga people. Like, ano ba tong homeschooling, di ba? So, but before that, Donna, baka you could share like what you are doing exactly, no? I know like you're the founder of a Facebook group, which we want to share as well.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm a doctor by profession, but decided to practice homeschooling as a lifestyle. I began in 2002 with my two boys. However, I eventually had more kids, and I started a homeschooling group called Homeschooler of the Philippines on Facebook, 2012. I homeschooled the 4 kids from preschool to grade 6 until they turned 13 and released to high school. And the group has grown from 30 friends to 27,000.
Oh my gosh, 27,000.
Yeah, and leading that support group, I found myself doing workshops, seminars, attending conference, and eventually speaking in conferences. And I was invited to be part of HAPPY about 4 years ago, Homeschool Association of the Philippine Island.
Okay.
And eventually I took on as president in 2018, and I still currently am the president of HAPPY.
Okay. HAPPY was founded by Edric, right? Edric Mendoza.
And a group of other homeschool pioneers and advocates. Yeah.
That's great. So, okay, so leading to my first question, what exactly is homeschooling? A lot of people are like confused what this term is all about.
I'm a doctor, so it's not a strict definition, unlike you define diabetes or a criteria for all that. There's no authority that governs globally what is homeschooling, but I will share from the homeschooling that has been growing in the community, the definition of homeschooling in our Facebook group, and also proposed by HAPPY, that it is generally a parent-led form of education, wherein most of the learning happens at home, but not, limited to it, because the world is our classroom.
Yes.
And and it is embraced as a lifestyle. And so, however, because of what's happening, the parent-led education, when we say parent-led, that actually means one parent or both, shares the majority of the engaging, the facilitation of learning. Okay. So, usually the model is the breadwinner is the father, and or the husband or the partner, the male partner, and the wife or woman stays at home and homeschools the children. However, that is like the sort of like not the ideal, but that is what we've been exposed to.
Okay.
But it has evolved because of life itself needs to evolve. So we have, sometimes it's the father who stays home and teaches the kids. The mother's the one working. You have outsourced classes to tutors because some of the things hindi na kaya ng parent, or the parents are working or stay at home and they need a little bit of support. So there are, I would say, tweaks and changes in the main setup that we've been exposed to. I mean, we've been exposed to from the 1990s of mothers homeschooling, fathers working. But now it's kind of evolved. Prior to the pandemic, it's evolved already. What more now? With all the nets. So now you have a whole home-based learning, which is distance, which is online learning, which is classes through Zoom, like what we're doing, meeting. Yeah. So whether or not it is still parent-led, that is actually the crux. I mean, that's where it is. A parent can lead it, but not necessarily facilitate everything.
Mhm.
We're in the parent can curate who will tutor their kids online. So may mga ganon. I would still consider that parent-led. I mean, who's to say, di ba?
Yeah,
Because
it's true.
but if you say parent taught, I mean, Homeschool Global is one of the leading groups now, and in their orientation, they define it as parent led, home based, right? A form
Yeah.
of education. They didn't say parent taught or parent,
Mhm.
facilitated learning. So there are, because they're trying to be more inclusive, because of life in itself is complicated. No,
Yeah,
there's no
so
one design.
that's true, no? So right now, like Zika now, they still have classes via Zoom, like led by the school. So
Yes.
it's a form of homeschooling
Yes.
as well, right?
Yes. That is like a version of it wherein like learning, there is blended learning, there is textbook
Yeah.
learning, diba? So like homeschooling, it really depends, because in all our seminars, or at least intro to homeschooling, there's always that part of self-awareness. You
Correct.
have to see yourself in the context of the learning environment, on your capacities, on your skills, on your character. Kakayanin ba? Or will you need to develop? Can you outsource first? Can you learn as you go?
Yeah.
But I have seen the strangest and the toughest situations where, because of support system, because of determination, even if an 8 to 5 person, a work
Mm-hmm. That's
has
true.
found a way. But of course, we do not give this as a blanket, you know, offer na, hey, kayang-kaya mo yan, because you have to protect your
Oh,
health, you
baka
have to
naman
protect
hindi nila kaya. Yeah, you're
yeah,
right.
and the relationship, because you might get so stressed and take it
Mm-hmm.
on the children. So homeschooling, you are actually doing like what they would call before as a distance learning,
Okay.
distance wherein, ang funny nga, no, now talagang social distance learning. Distance learning used to be some form of that kind of online classes or online tutorials. And there were homeschoolers who were really into distance learning. In
Mm-hmm.
other words, they would do their classes. For example, one group was the Nisai Learning. These are the big groups in the UK that they have stories upon stories of streaming, from the UK. And they have classes. So that's distance learning. So now everyone's adjusting because of the whole, you cannot meet face to face.
I
So
think
even homeschooling has,
yeah, I think Donna, no, one of the questions kasi right now is like, for example, one of the things that come across like siguro parents' minds right now is yung struggle for yung financial struggle right now.
yes,
Diba? So a lot of us, maraming nawalan ng work, maraming, for example, nag-work from home, pero syempre we
nawala ng
have to tend to
opportunity.
my
Oo.
kid, to
Yeah.
our kids and rate later on, pero at the same time, konti na lang yung pumapasok na pera.
Yes.
So a lot of us are thinking like, kung kami rin naman gagawa, like, I mean, kung kami rin magtuturo ng mga anak namin later on, do we still
Might
have
as
to enroll them, diba, later on, like, for the next
yes.
school year? So, what advice or what do you think
Okay.
we should tell them?
Prior to the pandemic, there was already a whole group of parents who have parang seen it, that they're working to earn to pay for the tuition, and they're quite unhappy with either the character development of the child, or the traffic to go to school, or all the other complications of sending your children to a physical school. When they computed and saw that one parent, all her earnings were just going to the tuition,
Mm-hmm.
plus the school bus and everything that was connected to schooling, they said, teka lang, we've seen this homeschooling group, they seem to be growing, and parang ang dami nilang good stories about their relationships, about, and it takes is a willing parent to open her mind or his mind to see and study naman, research.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why self-awareness, na doable ba? Push, get your pencil, put the numbers in, because right now we have full support of the Department of Education, and they will roll out their nitty-gritty details. And one of the things they had proposed was even public school can provide modules and training for
Okay.
parents who would opt to homeschool. Because that's going to solve one of their problem, one student who will be taken care of by a family. But they don't want to do that blanketly because, of course, there is risk of neglect. There's risk of poor quality of education. So hopefully we will, and that's where I want to ask, people, NGOs or whoever, to support the DepEd in that effort to, ang tawag pa nga nila, which I'm not used to using that word, capacitate. To increase the capacity. Increase the capacity of parents to home educate properly.
Yeah.
So they've even are open to, of course, they're all not committing yet kasi wala pa yung policies, but they are open to, if you're going to teach the early years, even if you're not a college graduate, for as long as you take this online certification class, or modules, you can teach preschool, grade 1, grade 2, grade 3. If you are an undergrad in college, sabi nila, they might allow you to teach certain, level. So this is I would say, of course, with all, we need to be positive, right? But
yeah, of course.
I would say for any homeschooler, this is the best time to homeschool. Because you have all the support online, free, ang daming free. Kaya lang, it's also the best time to ma-overwhelm, malula. But in terms of support for the government, imagine public school, if you're going to homeschool, how much will you need if you're going to enlist the public school? Now, Homeschool Global and Homeschool Pilipinas is coming up with if you were affected by the COVID crisis, and I think they have a way of assessing if you have, maybe financial or maybe health-wise, or they even have scholarships for frontliners, health workers.
Yeah.
So Homeschool Pilipinas is coming up, which is a product of Homeschool Global, with starting at 10K, you can homeschool your children. They will support you if you are able to show or prove that you have been affected by the crisis. So I would say financially, it is also a interim solution. But I would suggest for parents to sit down, assess their availability, assess their skill set, assess, and get to know. Kaya nga, that's why we're trying to do all these webinars for homeschooling, the how to homeschool, what's the process involved, decision making. Because I've noticed, this is what I've noticed among parents, ang unang tinatanong, lessons, anong ituturo?
Yes, oo.
Diretso ka agad doon di ba? Kasi iniisip nila gano'n naman talaga. They just send their kids, di ba? Hindi nila iniisip yung process of the school's philosophy, how the school's plan. Kung aakuin mo nga yun, you can't just go to the lessons, di ba? You have to observe, be aware of your life in the next 6 months, and who is somebody available, somebody willing to be taught, somebody willing to research, and somebody maybe, depending on the age of your kids, can dedicate 2 to 3 hours.
Yeah.
If more independent na yung kids, maybe less. If I would say if primary kids like kinder to grade 3, maybe more time in terms of yung tutok. But I've seen thousands do it. So thousands upon thousands. And just today, I have news. A homeschooler just texted me. Di sila nag-graduate sa US, University of Northern Iowa. My support group, when we were small, they left for Iowa many, many years ago. Homeschooled till grade 12. Sunlight curriculum till grade 9. Summa cum laude on digital media applications in UNC, University of Northern Iowa. And that's just one. And I have so many stories of how this kahit 1 year lang ang ma-invest parents to make the child love to learn again. Maybe, assuming that merong siyang lost love for learning because of the system or hectic life. But I've seen also 1 year lang ang binigay niya, and it worked wonders for their relationship. So
nice. We'd love that for our kids as well.
Yeah, of course, that's not your goal. Your goal is not summa cum laude, no? Kaya ako go-homeschool. It's just a byproduct because of this positivity in learning that a
That's so
home
nice.
has the potential to give. I always say has the potential, right? Because
Yes.
it can go either way. That's why parent-led. Ang parent ang principal nakatutok. But you can, okay, go to our homeschooling group or to a support group and ask online classes and you research. But that is the tricky part. People sometimes don't like to do hot,
Yeah.
hodgepodge or ganyan. That's why you go to a school, lahat all in, sign a check,
Yes,
tapos. Diba?
correct. So,
Sorry, this.
yeah, related to that, no, parang may naisip lang ako. Like, for example, like parents kasi, they have limitations, di ba, when it comes to like yung skill. For example, ako, hindi naman ako like super galing with mathematics. So, parang how do we teach like things that we're not really confident in teaching? And also, another thing though, like, hindi lang lessons but how do you encourage, in terms of values naman, how do you encourage kids to go beyond their, basically to be the best, I don't know, no, I don't know what in what context yun yung best, but to go beyond what they are capable of.
Okay. When you talk about your capacity or your adequacy in terms of the different areas, I truly believe the brain, of course, I love neurology, neuroscience. It's very plastic, right?
Yeah.
You cannot say I cannot learn. But of course, there is also that point that I don't want to learn, So, I would say, just from experience, there are things na I don't want to learn na, like high calculus, high math. Diba? Kahit anong gawin ko. I want to learn teach the things that I can speak from within without, like science. I can speak it so well because I'm a doctor, diba? Or even literature. In the level of the child of grade 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, kaya yan, diba? Creative writing. I'm confident. But that's reason why I released them in high school.
Okay.
Wala pa because I felt I wasn't anymore going to give them excellence in those areas that I wanted them to be challenged. Plus, wala nang competition sa homeschool. For teens, competition is important for certain skill set. So I think one is for you to really review yourself. Saan ka malakas, saan ka mahina. Then the support group, if you have a support group, I love a support group like what we had before. Kung meron lang kaming online noon, we probably would have done online classes kasi I taught anatomy, I taught science. My sister mommy group taught creative writing. Somebody taught history. So we had meetings where each mom's lumabas kung ano yung ano niya, yung kanyang gifting or skill set.
Okay.
So I guess for a new mom, I would say if you're a college graduate, I think you can handle the basic grade school subjects, but you have to be willing to learn in a different way or to also facilitate learning in a different way. Hindi yung kinagisna natin na 45 students yung teacher lang nagsasalita.
Sitting down, listening.
Or the blackboard na nakatayo. You can sit down with the kids. If they're 3 years old, you can sit down in the chair. Pwedeng tinatawag nilang discussion style.
Yeah.
So that's it. Yun yung, kumbaga, this homeschooling, you can accept it as a box and just put it in your house and cut and paste and box your kids. And it probably will not work. If you force them at home, you might, it may work, but it's not.
Lalo na for younger kids, makulit. Like, Vika, she loves standing up. She loves like presenting to everybody.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, kaya nga mas overwhelming siya kasi ang dami niyang options, ang dami niyang parang inward We always like, sabi niya ni Martine de Luna, okay, I learned it from her. She's a coach, life coach, and also said na parang ang dali natin kasing exogenous, sabi niya, ang dali natin tumingin sa labas. Gusto natin yung panlabas. Pag the moment we start looking in, syempre it will bring out our character. It will bring out our skills. Ayaw natin. So, I'm sorry, but this is gonna shake us. This homeschooling, should I or should I not?
Yeah.
But so if there's anything that people can take from this webinar or this time together is look within. and look within the family. Ano yung mga areas na kailangan gusto mong sana mas maayos? Did you want your children to be more honest? Did you want your children to be more responsible? Are there top character traits that you've been noticing for the past 5 years that you can't seem to get through? And try to learn how to prioritize that even before looking for anong math textbook ang kailangan. That's it na parang, which is, everybody says na, I have no time because the kids are from 8 to 4 in school. I have no time with them. Suddenly you have all the time. And so I challenge everybody to start with a relationship, to start with character first, and breathe, because all the research I've seen, the academics will flow and follow if we prioritize.
Yeah. Your tips naman on breathing, Donna, no? Like, I think this is one of the things that the parents will ask. Like, how do you become more patient?
Okay, I would say patience is a virtue, but patience, for me, I'm a woman of faith. I bring in faith in all that I do. Therefore, I believe in the power that it is a fruit. It is something that you need as a higher source, which is, for us, it's the Spirit of God. Fruits of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, patience, kindness. And you have to find that source. You cannot produce it, and I challenge everybody. I read the Word of God, Galatians 5:22, fruits of the Spirit, and the Spirit of God will enable you. And there is always that forgiveness and sorry to the children if things don't go wrong, right? And then you ask them, how can I be a better person? How can I be a better? Modeling is the best way to teach your kids. But if you don't show modeling, if you don't show vulnerability to the extent that they can handle, if you don't show that you also make mistakes and you also say sorry, you will not be authentic and transparent enough for them to be also comfortable with. So as early as a young, if you made a mistake, pinagalitan mo, then because nag-spill ang water, hindi naman pala talaga niya kasalanan, it was a clumsy mistake, and you kind of lost your temper, you have to sit down on their eye contact and say, mommy had a mistake there. I'm very sorry. So that modeling is the number one way to teach character. As homeschooling, they have loads of quality and quantity time with you. That's why I want you as a parent to take care of that area of your life, character-wise. Because studies have shown that the main person that a child is with, influences them the most. So imagine yung charge na nasa atin ngayon, nasa inyo, with your formative years of the children, and very, very impressionable. Kasama niya kayo, the parents, for say 8 to 10 hours a day, and they see all your actions. So instead of worrying so much about the curriculum, look within first and, hey, what are the things that I have to be mindful of? Kasi ako na ngayon ang laging kasama ng mga anak ko.
True. Totoo.
I always say this, that children will not learn from parents, which is from Rita Pearson, or from teachers who they don't like or they're afraid of. So build that relationship, and then ask them, if they're old enough, allow them to be part in choosing their textbook, whatever. I mean, there's a lot of things you can do. Everyone's rushing, thinking, August, I have to start. Oh my gosh, we have the whole year. We don't even know when this pandemic will end. So let's take it on, breathe, be patient. So how does that work? If mommy now or daddy is so rushing to figure out anong provider, anong method, anong textbook, you are not practicing patience yourself, right? You are rushing things. So model patience by not showing your children you're so stressed, you're so overwhelmed, you're so... Hello, wala naman race dito eh. There's no marathon. All the schools are going to bring in the humanitarian. You can decide in 2 weeks, 3 weeks. But I have this challenge though, which maybe they can rally to their private schools, because if a child is within the system now of a private school, and if they offer some form of homeschool program, 3 days online, 2 days, yung tinatawag lang asynchronous or something, and 2 days, I would, and if they really embrace and learn how to homeschool and how to teach their parents to homeschool, a private school is really in a good position to
Yeah.
take it on. So
Yeah.
yung continuity mo, the continuity of things and the familiarity of whatever will stay within the system. But if the private school will just do online classes home-based without any attempt to understand the home setup, the home learning, the homeschooling, I would go for a homeschool provider na lang or independent na lang ako. Kasi I've heard nga hindi nga nag-a-adjust. Lahat ng syllabus binibigay, PowerPoint, 36 slides, papanoodin ng isang bata na 5 years old, hindi man, 10 years old.
Yeah.
It's so flat. There's no projects. It's all exam. Ay, wag na lang kung ganon lang ang plano. Kasi stress.
So parang parents now think na, do I like need to step in and be like in front of the kid, teaching them slides na to, this is how you do it. So it's not like, yeah, exactly. And there are other ways naman of really teaching the child, like giving them projects, like, oh, how about you read or record yourself or something like that, diba?
Yeah, and when you said how do the children, going back to your questions, how will the children go beyond?
Yeah, correct.
Required, diba? I think the modeling that everything is though you're living life and living learning, I always say education is not a stepping stone to something, no? Sometimes kasi we feel I'm homeschooling because I'm preparing them for life.
Exactly.
That's one area, but homeschooling is here now and the present. Mm-hmm. So live the moment. Do not always think that because gusto ko silang pumunta sa UP or whatever, and so you're so drawn to the test, you're so drawn to output. Tama naman maging goal, but you have to balance it with the now that you're living, engaging, nasi-sense ng children yung inyong stress because of wanting goals. But every time they need to know why. Yeah. At least as early as they can understand, they need to why am I? Kaya nga they said in preschool, always start with meaningful connections, with function. Do not say write 5 A's, 10 A's today, and then tomorrow 20. Why will I write 28?
Sagutin ka pa ng may computer naman, mommy.
So, or you write, Zika, this is your bag. I will write Z. K, yung pinakamadali pa yung bigay mo K and A. Would you like to write the I? Function, because this is your bag. Yeah. So when they know the reason and the function for what they're doing is they will have parang intrinsically motivated to do their best. Yeah. Let's say we had projects in math. We've had a bake sale of cookies. So I was teaching them the way to research. So my 10-year-old had to email a baker to ask how you mark up. Ano ba ibig sabihin ng profit? Is it better to sell it in a dozen? So email, no? Yeah. But business letter style, merong yung the business writing. So it had a purpose, or to complain to the village. Madaming pusa, complain or write down. So sincerely, that's how I did it. There's always a function and you do it excellently because either you are serving another, you are blessing another person. So minsan, pag ondoy, ayan, walang classes lahat. Lahat tayo gagawa ng hot meals, binalot in a banana leaf. So instead of counting by tens using manipulatives, you count by tens ng food packs. O, diba? So 10, 20, 30. So you are modeling learning with a desire to be a good citizen and make the world a better place. Yun. So they know that there's always, it's not lang for them. It's not lang for me. No.
But it really has a function. No? But Donna, in terms of like homeschooling, no, like how do you know if you're doing a good job? Diba? Like hindi ko alam
okay. Diba? I guess that's where now you aware ka na, no? You know na you're gonna homeschool. Of course, we have what you call competencies for grade level. Maybe for the younger kids, you call it developmental milestones. And so there has to be some level of you being aware. And that's where the curriculum or the provider helps. Of course, a grade 5 or grade 6 material was designed that should be already challenging to a grade 6, but not overly or not underly. So parang, you have to find those trustworthy resources that have already created systems upon systems on how to know if you're with assessment. Okay. So the providers, that's the role of the homeschool providers. They provide services, curriculum, assessment, monitoring, supervision. That is the challenge if you do not want to go to a provider, if you want to go to independent. But the DepEd website and all the online all has those syllabus, curriculum for grade 5, syllabus for K to 12, it's all online. So kung lalabas yung pagka-creative mo or yung pagka-resourcer mo, if you don't wanna pay a provider to guide you, you can pretty much use, those guides online or from the DepEd on. At this point, they should be doing multiplication. At this point, they should be doing algebra.
And how's the assessment for independent? Like, kunwari, if I want to do it on my own, how's the assessment for that? Where can I?
Okay, there are, of course, again, there are diagnostic exams that are standalone private institutions that do it, like third party, like SATs or all SATs or diagnostics. Some can be free. I think online, some can be paid. Or you can with a provider. Now, this is where you decide, would you like a provider that does quarterly exams based on a DepEd curriculum? That kind of is limiting for some. They feel like, I don't want to use the DepEd books. I want to be more, and I don't want an exam. I don't know how these exams have evolved. It's still the same like ours, multiple choice is fill in the blank. Sana nga hindi na, no? But I don't know if it's DepEd, baka there is still that form. But they said though, which is promising, that they will shift the assessment. DepEd will shift some form of the assessment to make it more home friendly. I hope they do that for at least those. So anyway, going back to that, then if you feel like you don't want to do the quarterly exam, which is for me, I didn't want those long quarterly exams. So that was already a deal breaker for me for a certain provider, because I didn't want that the material would be dependent on. Or some would do it because they'll have their own material until 2 weeks before the exam. And then they're going to ram up whatever is going to be taken in an exam 2 weeks before, which is, I feel, doable for some, but I didn't want to do that. Okay. So when you decide, when you already more or less know how you want things to be and know your personality, that I don't really like creating portfolios, I don't really like, then you have that decision making wherein kailangan po monthly, there's an exam. Ayoko niyan, ganyan. So, you'll have to ask. Iba-iba talaga. Sometimes you go with your friends, and because you want that support group, and that's valuable to you, that if all your friends went with one provider, sige, sama na ako dyan. But then at some point when you gain, that's why sometimes it's very hard for first-timers to go independent right away, especially if you are so new to this. I mean, because you really need the community, the piggybacking, the mentoring, and coming alongside there.
Yeah. Okay. Sige. So, thank you so much, Donna. Yeah, no worries. Thank you so much, Donna, for all of the tips. How can people reach you, or can you offer like resources, or where can they go if they want to learn more about like how to homeschool for the first time? Yeah.
Right now, we have the happy.ph. You can contact us there, which is on Facebook. We have Happy, Homeschool Association of the Philippine Island. We have Happy website, happy.ph. I have Donna Simpao in Instagram. And I think if Homeschoolers of the Philippines now is really the biggest group. You can get overwhelmed there, but we are creating systems. If you come in, you get all the options for support groups. So Cebu, Davao, Dipolog, Bacolod, CDO, Las Piñas, just last night, Bulacan didn't have, and I just said, who are the Bulacanos? And 10 said, hey, here am I. They all, meron na tayong homeschoolers of Bulacan on Facebook. It's so organic, and it's, of course, I have this feeling that I have to check on them because they're all new. But I'm giving them material, modeling how to moderate. So that's the first stop. Although it might take a few days to approve the request because we have 1,000 every day wanting to be part, but we've created units for people to read. All the webinars are shared there. Okay. So that will be the first stop. And then that's where you decide, on the process. So Homeschoolers of the Philippines Facebook group. And of course, there's the
conferences. Do you have like conferences?
Yes, sorry, I forgot. Happy together with Homeschool Global, led by Homeschool Global, supported by Happy, Philippine Online Homeschool Conference. Okay. It's from May 11 to 15. Just go to the Facebook page of Philippine Online Homeschool Conference, POHC. It's all there. I think it's on Facebook lang eh.
Okay.
Yeah, it's all there. And then I think the links are all there. And then it goes to I can share it to you later.
Yes, again, I can share it with the viewers also who'd want to attend.
And then that's from May 11 to 15. May 11 to 15, online, free from your home. Just different tracks. Excited. Yeah, I'll be there for how to begin. Ayan na! How to begin.
Perfect.
May 11 ako, I think 7 o'clock with my sister Felici. And also, let's talk videos of Let's Talk with Felici and Dr. Donna. It's also on Facebook. Okay. And maybe YouTube na rin ako.
dapat, Doc, because ang dami talagang people who are interested already to know more about
I know. Yeah.
Okay,
sige. Thank you so much, Ginger. It's good morning. Happy Mother's Day to all.
Yes, happy Mother's Day to everybody.
God bless.
Thank you. Bye-bye.